Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And joining us for this Time Stories episode for the first time on the show in a long time, Megan.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, anyone that's listened to episode, 0 or 1.
Yeah, 0, 1,
And
the two
Time Stories.
really bad Time Stories episodes we released like 2 years after we recorded them.
Yes.
And then the other one that we recorded fairly recently, 2 years after we played it.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, however, we're recording immediately after having played it.
Yes.
So it's very fresh on our minds. This is Mile High Game Guys Ruins Time Stories Under the Mask. As is always the case with our Ruins episode, we are going to be just spoiling fucking everything. We will ruin it for you if you have not played and you care about spoilers. So stay away.
Or if you just want to hear us talk for an hour-ish.
Yeah.
So,
Feel free.
Indeed. Like I said, we're going to be covering Time Stories Under the Mask. This was a module for the Time Stories game released in 2016. Just like regular Time Stories, plays 2 to 4 players, takes about 90 minutes. Zach, do you have a quick overview of what's going on in Under the Mask? I saw you had something on your phone. I thought maybe you'd made something about like Under the Mask is.
I can read from the BGG page.
There you go. Do that.
Jeff, what is Under the Mask?
Yeah.
Enter the Valley of Kings and unravel a pharaoh's secret. This time, you and your fellow temporal agents must travel back into ancient Egypt to solve a crime that threatens to destabilize the future.
There you go. It's Time Stories.
It's the third expansion
Egypt.
for Time Stories.
Yeah.
We're back in an actual timeline, though.
Yeah.
Or not an alternate one where magic exists.
Yes. This is NT, normal time, or something that we assume that NT means.
Natural time.
Yeah, and then there was like AE or something. For the other
AT,
one.
alternate time.
Alternate time. Not Titan.
No.
So it's been a little while since we played. We replayed the Prophecy of Dragons.
Yeah.
Did not do as well as we thought we would after having played it once before.
Yeah.
And Jeff, you said this was the third one. This is actually the fourth
one.
Their
Yeah.
page says the third
It's
expansion.
the third
Expansion.
expansion. It's the fourth.
Yeah.
Module.
Yeah,
Module.
that's what I
Sorry.
said. It's the third expansion.
He said
Yeah.
expansion.
Yeah.
You're right. You're technically correct.
Yes.
The best kind of
Most-
correct.
Yeah.
Most important. We don't do these often enough. I don't have like a good format in mind to guide me to try and corral the rambling.
Just let it go, man.
Yeah.
Just go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Oh no.
It's fine. You get
We're
like
gonna
3 or,
get sued by
guys,
Disney
you
now.
get like 3 or 5 seconds.
Under 30.
Yeah. How are you feeling about Time Stories after the last one?
So I would say for me, I was on a little bit of a low point in Time Stories. I did not really care for the alternate timeline adventures that were there in Prophecy of Dragons. Especially didn't care for the way you're in the alternate time and you're something about the switch to fantasy characters kind of broke some of the immersion I'd built in the first few. And then halfway through that one, all of a sudden it's like, now you're fighting crazy time bandits in weird
Time
time
space.
vortex space
Yeah.
things. And it was just like, this got weird. And so it kind of left me on a little bit of a down note, I would say, going from that one into Under the Mask. What about you, Megan?
Yeah, I feel like the last one, like the first half was fun because you could explore this fantasy city, but then it just got weird and took forever. And like as soon as you think you're done, they're like, add this much more time. So it's like 2 games in one. That didn't seem super cohesive and just made the game stretch on forever because every time you die, you have to start back at the beginning, and it's just getting up to the point where you died with hopefully more time to get further.
Jeff, what about you?
I've liked all of them, and I was looking forward to more. It's really what it is. I've enjoyed all of them in all of their different weird ways. This one being still different from all the other ones.
Zach, what about you?
My main problem with the last one was just really the theme of the fantasy. Sort of same sort of thing. And then as alternate magic, I was like, yeah, I liked how the second half went. And so I was like, I hope we get back to something more like that. And getting back to although I was looking forward to getting back to regular time.
And just be weird.
Yes.
Instead of just
fantasy.
Here's gnomes and stuff.
Yes.
Right on.
I wasn't trying to play D&D. I didn't want any of that shit.
No.
Yeah. Seeing if I wanted that, I would just play D&D. I don't need time stories for fantasy.
Yeah.
So this one, I think, right out the gate, one of the cool things that this one does is your starting location, you only get access to it at the start. As soon as you leave it, it's gone. So right there out of the gate, you have decisions to make. This one also implements a new mechanic where you can actually easily switch receptacles. Like, so as you meet people that you're like, they might have useful abilities, you can spend one of 5 tokens per run to be like, I now control that person.
I felt like it was a good sort of evolution. So the last one had like 8 different characters or whatever, and it was like, oh, you have to be the Hobbit to go to here, or you have to be the warrior to do these things. This one it has sort of similar things, but it's sort of an evolution. It's like you didn't have a whole bunch to start off with and been like, okay, well, let's see if this character does anything for us. It was, oh, you have these characters. You can switch out with a different one if you want. You can't get the one you had back. We just, to quote Jeff, just dumped their corpse in a river.
Yeah.
The Nile's just flooded.
They just their eyes go white and die. And then we just are like, all right, off we go.
Yep. Before you do, you got to grab all their shit.
Yes, you do take all of their stuff first.
Yeah.
Their grain.
Yeah.
Yes, lots and lots of grain.
But it was interesting to be like, you didn't know necessarily what the character was going to bring. So, like, the first couple runs, we were just like, well, let's see what this character gets us.
Yeah, you start off on the boat, and it's like, oh, yeah, there's this guy who wants to go be a scribe. Do you want to take him over? And it's like, I don't know, do I? Like, there's a lady up front with a baby. Do you want to take her over? No?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe? Sure not. I don't know. And then as you go, like, just almost everywhere you went, there was at least one person who was like, you can spend one of these tokens to take them over.
Yeah.
And that kind of led to some interesting decisions. I thought it was a cool addition to the rules.
I liked it better than the previous one.
Yes.
So, because then we got to know it's like, oh, some people were good up to a point, and then we're like, all right, now let's just throw their husk into the river and get someone new.
Yeah, they're clearly were meant to, like, this person will get you to this other person who you need to do this one thing. And then once you're done with that chain of people, you never need to use them again in any other run.
Yeah, we did. I remember running into one spot where we used up too many of those tokens. We're like, oh, we were planning on doing this and this and this, but we have no tokens. So I guess we'll just explore other things.
Yeah.
Because we'd already used our tokens, getting a couple fairly useless people. And then it was like, all right, well, we can't do that anymore. So we're definitely not going to get very far in this one.
Yeah. So like the 4 main ones that we start off with, I felt there were varying levels of usefulness in there.
100%.
Specifically, like Megan's character was the scribe.
Yes.
So I think it was like an artist, like a trainee artisan that was the boy you could talk with.
Correct.
But the scribe was good if you wanted to literally transcribe like 2 things. Otherwise, you're like,
there was 2 whole things you could translate in the whole game that we found.
Which was, I mean, to be fair, was pretty vital to winning.
Huge.
Yeah.
One of them was critical.
And it got you access to the person in the temple who gave you important information.
Yes.
It was basically, yes.
Yep. So that one was good for that. Adrian's
priestess was fucking useless. Like, her ability was to heal, but you basically don't take damage hardly at all in the entire scenario. So it's like,
with the right combination of people that you have.
Yeah. So yeah, you are our receptive. Like, you were like, all right, we need to trade out person. Adrian, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And
Just go ahead and suck the soul right out of that new person. Get the wasp on him.
Yep. Jeff, you were the Magi, and you were
the soldier.
The soldier,
Yeah.
and you were good to keep the other Magi away from us.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, because basically anytime you interacted with soldiers, there was an option where, like, this soldier can just make them go away.
Yeah, if you were ever on the West Bank and rolled a 1 or 3 when you moved, you would have to have fought like soldiers.
Yeah.
But if you have a soldier with you, you just be like, nope.
Yep.
Okay, bye.
Or that one location on the West Bank, like at the gates, where it's like, if you go talk to these guards, they're going to try and beat you up until Jeff comes to rescue you. And it's like, no, this is my friend.
I did read that symbol just needs to be in your party
Yeah.
to ignore that. You don't have to be in that specific location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That would have saved us like a whole time
Yeah.
unit.
Yeah.
Weirdness, vagueness in this game, that doesn't seem right.
I went through the FAQ and was kind of reading stuff, and
Gotcha.
that was something that came up.
And then my character was very good at being a support character and
Yes.
a charismatic character.
Yeah. pretty critical.
Yeah, so Jeff and I, we kept our characters the entire time
On all of the runs.
on all the runs,
Mhm.
except for one time I swapped and it ended up being a useless character. So I was like, never again.
Yeah.
Megan was the scribe to get whenever we needed those pieces of information,
Mhm.
and then when we didn't need that, and then always for Adrian, just swapping out receptacles to try and get whoever we needed.
Yeah, so I think it was good to, like, I definitely thought that those two characters, Zach and Jeff's characters, were very important. But I think also having Adrian and I have characters that were important for the few things they did, but then being able to just be like, all right, your usefulness is over.
Yeah.
Get something that's usefulness is more important right now. Was kind of a nice way to do it, rather than being stuck with a character that's like, all right, I need to translate, but there's nothing more I need to translate, so
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it was nice being able to, like, in the Prophecy of Dragons, it was like, oh, I really needed this character to do this part. So then you'd base an entire run of picking this character to go through this one door. Here, you could, like, just time when you went to, all right, we're going to go pick him up, do his thing, and then switch it for something else. And that was a interesting, like, helped you give some flow and decision making in those later rounds.
Yeah.
You started to piece more together. It was like, all right, what receptacles do we need to go and meet, and which ones have
Yeah, we
done everything?
started discussing what the entire run was going to be more than I've ever seen in the game.
Uh-huh.
Because especially because a lot of them, I wouldn't, not necessarily dead ends, but some literal dead ends. But
Yes.
it was there were definitely things where like, all right, we're gonna go this avenue to get that information, but then we ended up getting like new locations on the map, and it was like, okay, we don't have to go do that anymore, and because we already know where we need to go, and so that was nice to be able to. There wasn't as many very circuitous routes you had to take in this.
This one also, they explained at the beginning that money's a little bit weird in this. Like, there's grain, and then there's, like, gold.
It basically
Coin,
bartering
yeah.
in this.
And 5 grain can turn into 1 gold, and everybody starts with a grain, so you're almost all the way to 1 gold. But then
Well, it's not even a gold. It's some other barter
that
resource.
they said had roughly the equivalent of,
a-
like,
one.
1 ounce of gold or something.
Yeah.
90 grams of gold.
90
I
grams,
think
yeah.
it was.
Maybe it
But-
was 90 grains of.
But
Grain?
since it was
Yeah.
since it was the brown tokens for the grain and then the yellow tokens for the gold, it was like, or for the other unit of currency or whatever. It's like, okay, it's grain and gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5-1.
There were, as is always the case, quite a few red herrings.
Yep.
Yes.
Where it's like, you could spend a bunch of time and energy trying to do this thing, and you do that 4 runs in a row, and then it never becomes useful, and you
Yeah.
never catch on. It wasn't quite like the plunger where it was immediately like, oh, this is useless.
No,
Yeah.
there were at least a couple things that were like, we're gonna grab these and just take them with us and just see if we
Need them.
need them. Yeah.
Because we never found a use for the bread either.
Nope. The
Nope.
bread or
No,
the other key.
The bread and the key were useless.
Fish, however,
Yeah.
extremely useful.
Yeah.
Cats apparently really like a dead fish.
Mhm.
And onks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the base storyline for this one is that there's a temporal anomaly.
Yeah.
In 1922, when the tomb of King Tut was opened, and his mask and everything is missing, and so we get sent back to ancient Egypt times, right around the time frame when they are pretty sure the mask was stolen.
Right after the mask
Yeah.
got stolen, because that was the only time we could have. Because Jeff was just, I remember Jeff was immediately like, when reading the card, he was just like, why didn't we go before the mask got stolen? And then like one sentence later,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, no, this is the first time we could have gone. Oh, okay, got it.
The first
Oh,
opening in the
yeah.
time.
Yes.
So they didn't
Vortex.
they made sure not to have that like plot hole.
Yeah. Like the Saiyans
Yeah.
have come back.
Mm-hmm.
SYAANS.
Yep, Sans.
Yep. And they took that slot
Mhm.
in time to steal it, so we couldn't go back to that same one and
Yeah.
go in after.
But we're basically right at the start. You're having, they tell you you have to find the mask, and that the mask was coated in a poison, which gave rise to the curse of King Tut's tomb. And so for some reason, you had to reapply the poison, which didn't ever really make sense. Like,
I guess it had worn off, rubbed off, or they
yeah,
had
but I mean,
mentioned
it sits
something.
in the tomb until it gets opened in 1922, and I don't feel like the poison killed anybody in
Maybe
1922.
the poison got rubbed off on the people that picked it up in the first place.
It had it on there, so they just had to make sure it kept it.
Yeah,
Basically, is how I
sure.
viewed it.
So You knew immediately
Yeah.
that you're looking for these two separate things.
but we didn't know where any of them were. We didn't know who did it, and all we knew is it happened.
And then a lot of names.
A lot of names.
And a lot of names that didn't even matter.
Yep. There were a fair amount of things that were just a lot of people giving information.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because you needed to find like specific people,
Mhm.
and then you could take over those specific people. You had to remember who those people were in this plot.
Yeah.
Because we had sort of solved the how it was done long before we got our objectives,
Yeah.
which was an issue.
yes,
Yeah.
just a little bit. This also, it was an interesting little twist because it took place in Egypt, and there's like, you come in on the Nile, and you get off on one of the two banks. But then anytime you wanted to cross back over, it was costing you a lot of extra time.
Yeah.
And there was a chance that the guards like would accost you. And so you tried to always, we were trying to really do everything like on one side or the other. And there was a lot of needing to kind of cross back and forth a little bit. Like
To start
to
with.
have done it in like the first run, you would have needed to like go to the East Bank, get one of the people, then go to the West Bank, get some information, go back to the East Bank, get the mask, go back to the West Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you would have needed to solve it quickly,
Yeah.
go back and forth. Whereas we did like all of our first run just on the one bank. We didn't
Mhm.
cross at all and didn't get nearly enough information. And then our second run was the one Megan was talking about earlier where we botched the swapping vessels.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, this run's a wash because we can't get any of the people that we feel like we really need.
Yep.
And
Yeah, because one person needs that Ankh. Why did we try and do it without the Ankh that time?
so the first time we did it, and this is a curse of doing it right the first time.
Yeah.
Like when you go to her though, it's like if you have the Ankh, or if you have the symbol that you get when you turn the Ankh in,
Mm-hmm.
take 11 instead of 10. And we were
Well-
like, well, maybe we get like a lesser version of her if
Yes.
we do it beforehand. Instead, it's just like, no, I'm too worried about this other thing. You can't use me as a vessel. Still spend the vessel point. And it's like, well, that wasted that.
Yeah, and we needed her to get somebody else, and that meant that we lost the little blue marker that we needed in order to get the other guy.
Yeah, because you can only switch 5 times per run. You have 5 tokens, so you can do it 5 times per run in a 4-player game. Some of it's a little different for 3-player.
Yes.
What did you guys think of some of the like more puzzly aspects of this one? Like the chains, like trying to chain people together was like kind of a puzzle where like you'd meet this person who's like, oh yeah, I was working with so and so, and it's like, okay, well now I need to try and find so and so. And so there was like that kind of a puzzle aspect. What do you guys think of that kind?
Well, I liked how there were a lot of things that were tests that you had to do that you needed if you had certain things that made it easier. So when you were talking about the Ankh thing, when we got to that villa or whatever it was, we all ended up spreading out, and I remember I was the first one to read the card, like to read my card out, and it was just like, oh, it looks like this, there's an Ankh that's been stolen. We should find it. And then Adrian was like, well, I have a cat here who has an Ankh that I need to try and get. But if he looks hungry, so if he got fish, it'd be easier to catch. And just like, well, I know a way to get fish right here.
I'm here in the kitchen.
Yeah. So it actually worked out well for us that we all went to the right places, so we knew where, the order in which to get things. It was like, oh, we need to get the fish to go give it to the cat, to get the Ankh, to bring it to the person, to get a token that lets us go to the next person. And then they're like, oh,
because even before this, we had found one of the conspirators.
Yeah.
And that was like his lover or something.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then when we got her, she was like, haha.
Yeah.
This other guy's my lover.
Yeah.
Let's go get him from here. So then we'd go get the other lover.
I guess both of the conspirators that we met she was sleeping with, I guess, at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then we went into the tomb on the first. Was it the first run?
It was the first run.
Yeah,
we did go all the way to King Tut's tomb in the first run. We did cross the bank the one time.
We didn't make it all the way to
we
the
didn't
end
make
of
it to
the
the
tunnel.
tomb, but we were going through the tunnel towards the tomb, and we got to the very end of it, and it's like, oh, if you have these two guys who are both lovers of that girl.
Well, so in the tunnel, like they're the ones that built the tunnel.
So you get a lot of advantages.
You get a lot of advantages for having them, but then if you get at the end, they start bickering at each other. Like the containers or the receptacles get control a little bit back, so they can just fight each other.
Yes.
Yes.
And so you lose, if you have them both, you lose a mandatory 3 time, and they each take a damage.
And roughly each time unit's like 10 minutes, I think, in this one. Because you can kind of parse that out because there's that guy that has the cart, and he says he needs it there within the hour, which is 6 spaces away. So you can see each time unit being roughly 10 minutes. So they spent 30 minutes fighting each other.
Sure, yeah.
While the agents are just fighting to get control back of the bodies.
Yeah. And the other two are just standing there.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that it was more puzzly this time around than fighting. Like I feel like the last one we played was so much fighting, and it just got old.
Not even just that one too, but the
zombie
the
one.
zombie one was
and
the
next case,
So I liked getting back to like the more puzzly, like exploring and like trying to figure it out rather than just like we just have to kill a bunch of people to win. And I've always liked time stories. Like the first one did a good job of exploring the insane asylum and just like trying to figure out what was going on rather than just have like there was some fighting in this one still. So you still definitely had to have like your fighter soldier person, but it wasn't all fighting and you weren't a useless character if you couldn't fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even Marcy Case really had a solid amount of puzzles of trying to figure out which one of the like people you kept finding. So there was still a good puzzle in that one. And I did feel that was one of the things missing in Prophecy of Dragons, is it seemed like so much of the puzzle was just like
finding the right person to get to the right area, to get into the castle that has all the weird 4D stuff going on.
It was getting the right person to open the door where you'd fight somebody and then beating them in a fight to go to the next area where you needed the right person to get through a door to fight somebody.
But you had to go back to this other area to get to go this way.
So this one had a puzzle that you guys were wise enough to realize we had solved in the first run that I did not realize we had solved.
Yeah, because the character that Megan played a lot was the scribe, and there are a couple pieces of map that came out that had hieroglyphs on it. That the scribe had an actual translation on it. That it was just like as soon as you get a map, it was just like, oh, let's figure it out what it was, and it was. The first one we found was quantity is the answer, or is the solution.
Yeah.
The second one, which was the beware of snakes, was something that we already knew about for a while.
Yeah. We ran into those snakes a while.
We ran into them on the end of the first round.
Yeah.
When our two guys started to fight, like above a snake pit.
Yeah.
And that was definitely a red herring because there was another vessel that we could get that was like a snake priestess that could skip that. So like if you hadn't gone through there yet and realized that it's pretty easy, you would have taken her and been like mostly useless.
Yeah.
But you get through this snake part and you fall into you go into this room and the door closes behind you and it starts filling up with water. And it's like, all right, everybody can look at these cards, but while you're looking at it, you have to hold your breath so you can't speak.
Which is a new thing.
Which was a new thing. And that's interesting too, because then it actually like brings in everybody's physical characteristics as a real limitation.
Yeah.
But it's like you get like 3 chances at it, and then you just have to guess one of the switches to push, basically.
Well, that's funny too when we got that notification, or not notification. We got that warning, and it was just like you can only look at it, and like you have to hold your breath, and we're all just like, don't know what we have to look for, and you flip it open. And it was just a bunch of symbols of nothing.
And all of us were like, what the fuck?
We all just, like, I remember I immediately just went,
Zach did like a, and it made me snort laugh, and then Zach actually laughed. Yeah. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Try again.
Yeah. But then, we saw those, and then we were,
the three
of us remembered quantity is the solution. So we were like, oh, start counting all these.
Meanwhile, I'd completely forgotten that we'd ever gotten that clue.
And then you're just like looking at this and you're like, I have no idea what
it must be some order of like what the vertical order versus like horizontal order on the card. And
then so we're just like, you have to put the card down and then you can actually start talking again. And I was like, we were like, all right, well, I had 6 of these and 5 of these and 4 of these.
I think I had mentioned quantities the solution.
Yeah.
So we needed to add everything up.
Yep.
And then we went to Adrian. How many did you have, Adrian? You're like,
I had 9 of the one that was there the most because I counted that. Yeah. But I've got no idea on the rest.
And he's like, I saw like this, like, because the 3 cards had the 3 symbols basically in an order, one above the other. Adrian's, well, I saw this like order a lot and this order a lot, but I never saw this order at all.
And we're like, what?
And we're like, okay. And so when we went to go, like, we did a second time just so we could recount.
tries.
yeah.
You get 3 tries. We did a second time because we added, like, when we were adding them up, like, mine added up to 15, Jeff's added up to 15, Megan's added up to 15, and Adrian was like, well, I had 9 of one, and I had 6 of one, and 6 of another. And it was like,
No.
your math's wrong.
It was 9 and then 4 and then 6.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
really, if I'd done the math, because I was trying to do the math over the, like, Megan was writing them down over there, and I was like, wait, how many were there? I was like, 5 and 5 and 5. I was like,
you
and then
literally
and then I
said
thought,
5 and 5.
Right. Well, and then I thought in my brain, okay, well, the first one was 9, which means that the other must be 6, thinking like the rest must be 6.
Uh-huh.
And I just said 6.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh wait, no shit, because there was 4 of the others, so there was like 2.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being there's 3
Yeah.
and 3. So I was
Yeah.
still wrong all around.
And then we're like, we counted
much
up,
wrong.
and then we're like, okay, so it's like 20, 22, 20, and then something else. And then Adrian is just like, I don't like, like, all right, we all
have
agree.
one more
so-
guess. Do we want to like really look at the cards to see if there's some other possible clue?
and we're like,
No, you're overthinking it.
yeah,
This
you're
is
over,
tradition.
yeah. And then you're like, what do you? And then we're like, remember the map that said quantity is the solution, and you're like, oh right,
That thing we've been talking about.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I know you said quantity is the solution, but I thought you were just saying like quantity is the solution. We're like, no, that's literally what the
That was
map
the
said
clue
earlier. That was
earlier,
the
so-
clue.
So we got that right,
Mhm.
and I guess we'll come back to the what's in the room later.
Well, no, I think it's a good time to go now because we ended up going into the room where we just see like 2 guys
Yeah,
who have who basically
Agents.
they look like the the
Horus
gods
and Anubis.
Yeah, and then we found the tomb.
but just agents in costume.
Yeah, just agents in costumes. But we found the tomb, and it's like, all right, go ahead and put the mask and the
poison.
yeah, poison on. And we're like, well, we don't have that mask, and like we had like 3 units left, and we're
We
like,
had the poison.
and we're like, all right, well, and then we gotta fucking find out where the mask is, and it was
Yeah.
like you could spend 6 time units to go back to Sobeki's house, and we're like,
Who's that?
we have no idea who that is, so
I guess we have to find Sebecki's
Yeah.
house.
so we got to the end, but we did not have what we needed, so we're like, all right, well, we gotta go all the way back and try and figure out what the fuck where all that was.
Mhm.
So, but that was the one where we fucked up the vessels. Yeah. So
Which you needed the one vessel to be able to get into Sebecki's house.
Yep.
So if like the very first run, if we would have went, well, it didn't work because we didn't take the guy, because you have to be able to get to Sebecki's house, you either spend a ton of time or use the guy on the boat to get in.
yeah,
And so since we didn't grab the guy on the boat,
Yeah.
we didn't have time to spend the time to get in. And
Mhm.
so the guy I had was useless and we couldn't get in the second time.
so you could
So it
only
was just a mess.
yeah you could only do
I had the guy on the boat for each of the last 3 runs.
yes,
But not
'Cause
the
we got-
first one.
Not the very first one, right?
Yeah.
But then in the second one where we messed up and we didn't ever get the prisoner,
Yeah.
we went over there and it was like, oh, if you have the prisoner, you can go to this place. It was like,
Go to
oh,
his house.
we
Yeah.
can't. And then it turns out that was Sebecki's house.
Yep.
So you needed both the prisoner that you rescue and you need the like training architect.
Well,
not architect, but
you-
whatever.
to get access to it. But then once you well, technically you didn't need him. You could have just spent the 10
10
Could have
time.
just
time.
spent the 10 times.
But
Not ideal.
not ideal, no, especially when you only start with 30. But once you got to Sebecki's house and you got like the information, because once you took control of him, then you had permanent information of Set Mall, I think that was the
Yeah.
city, and his house. So you didn't have to actually spend the fucking time to get through again, like we did.
Right.
Because we had to do that 2 runs. And
Because
then
the
on,
scribe revealed the city,
Yeah.
but it didn't stay unless you found Sebecki's house.
Yep.
Which was kind of
The
annoying.
information was not permanent.
yes.
Or our
Our
access.
level of access wasn't
Yeah.
permanent.
I feel like this is the first time I saw where the entire map got replaced
Yeah.
by new information
Yep.
Mhm.
that just stayed the entire time, which
Yeah.
was
Mhm.
which was nice that it was just like, all right, we're done with this, so we don't have to go through all this bullshit
Yeah.
because now we have.
We have
the-
unlocked it.
Yeah, we now we can just straight go there, so we don't have to spend time.
And fun fact, the one lady on the boat is useless after
Yes,
very quickly.
yeah,
Yeah.
That was another thing where she would have been good in the first run because then you would have just immediately unlocked something. But we found another way to unlock the map
Was
tile.
it the kids in the street?
So, no, it was some other way. I forget.
Okay.
Yeah.
But by
I
the
think it was
time,
somebody in the temple.
I think
yeah,
it's
it
the
was somebody in the
towel.
temple, and so we on the second run, we're like, all right, well, we'll get this kid and we'll get the woman. We got the woman, and it was like, well, we already have the only thing that she gives us.
Yeah. And she doesn't have any abilities or stats or
Yep.
anything else.
So that was good to know.
Yeah.
And just like the one priestess that I took over, she got to get rid of the snakes, but that was about it. And I was like, meh.
Yep. Not worth it.
Especially because her magic took health.
Yeah.
And she only started with 2 health, so it was not good.
And then she basically just threw rocks at people.
Yeah.
See, that's where it'd be good to have the healing girl. The one girl uses magic, and the other girl just heals her, so she can keep doing more magic.
Or just
And then you're using 2 worthless vessels.
Yes. Instead of the one that just gives someone two success.
Yeah. Or basically a free action.
Yep.
Instead of doing something else, I guess.
Well, and that was something we were doing wrong for the first run too.
Yeah.
Was like there's a symbol, like there's 2 different spend time symbols. One is just the group loses like 3 time, and you just lose
and it's
3
like the
time.
white curve with the blue dot.
No,
with
it's
the
the black.
black.
Oh,
black.
where the group
Like-
loses time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
the all
one-
black one.
The
Yeah.
one like the ones that are on the die.
Yes.
Yes.
But the blue and white one is basically as your action you can do this instead.
Yep.
And so that was very, especially like it was like
'Cause
Jeff.
you were spending time.
Yeah, I was spending time, but it was like because Jeff, he was our only like really strong character, and it was like when I had to fight someone, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go next to Jeff and be like, oh, come on, Jeff, you can do it. I believe in you.
But I'd still roll garbage.
Yeah, you would still roll.
Yeah, Jeff,
I think
you
you rolled
rolled
like
re- you rolled
4.
real bad.
No, you did 3 skulls and nothing once, and I was like, you mother.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
No,
you got
I rolled all 4 skulls, but I
Oh.
get to turn 1 to a
Oh,
blank.
that's what it was.
Multiple times you were rolling like 4 dice to
And
6
just, like,
dice
nothing.
and getting maybe 1 success.
Yeah.
It was like, how?
Yeah.
How are you so
this
garbage,
bad?
I
Jeff?
don't know.
Well, to quote Jeff, if you didn't have bad luck, you'd have no luck at all.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah. Also explains your bad Blood Bowl rolling.
That's all Nuffle though.
Well, Nuffle carries over into time stories. Apparently.
Clearly, I mean, he's probably a god in this universe.
Sure, yeah.
We'll encounter Nuffle.
It's
at
one of
some
those
point.
statues in the Valley of Kings.
Anything else that you guys want to mention from
Just in
Props,
terms
or from
of
Under the Mask?
I mean, once we got our order of operations
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what we needed to go where,
Mhm.
which we got in the 3rd one.
we figured it out on the 3rd one.
Well, and then
We-
the 3rd one, we opened up those other 2 locations
Yeah, the third one
permanently,
where we
so we
finally
didn't
found the
have to
mask.
go back. We didn't have to go through this, get this person to get this person to go to this person's house.
Yeah.
That's
To
definitely
then go to this other house. We just
Well,
had those 2
And
locations.
then we also went to the tomb,
Mm-hmm.
but from the top side, and we found that was a dead end. The only way we could go was
Mhm.
through the tunnel. That
Yeah.
was it. So
Yeah.
we were like, we know we have to get at least one of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't end
We
up.
didn't.
No, that's right. We were like,
we went and got tools. We found the tools.
yeah, we found
though.
tools, and it was like, oh, that'll probably work well enough because we had to go to Sabeki's house because that's where the mask was.
Well, you had to get Sabeki, who then told you the mask was on the other side of the
Oh
river
yeah,
from
that's
Sabeki's
what it
house.
was. Yeah, and so so like the foundry, we had to go to the foundry.
Yep.
That's where we got the mask, and then we had to go to his place to get the tools. And
then we had some other information that we never used, like that 4 green square symbol. I never saw that come up in anything. It may have been somewhere in the temple or guards or something.
it might have
but-
been in guards or something. I think
Yeah.
I think it was like if you went to, I'm gonna assume it was like 'cause you went to the Magi station. There were like a whole bunch of ones we didn't deal with.
Yeah.
That it was like,
Yeah.
oh, if you do these, you get that. I was
Could
like,
have been like, yeah, he did it.
because I saw one. There was a priestess that you could meet. That you could attempt to steal from her, and if you failed, you got a token. And I saw the token in a later thing at the Magi station, and I'm assuming it was like her being like, "She stole from me," and then they fight you. Or that one is he beat me up. Then you have to fight him.
Yeah.
So that was one thing I like too. Is that I like that this one. I felt like this one gave you multiple choices to do things.
Yeah.
Where I haven't seen that as much on the other ones. It was always like, do you have this? Cool, you get to do this, otherwise nothing.
Yeah.
This one was like, oh, you could steal from, you could try and talk to them, or you can beat them up. You can try and buy this thing, or you can choose not to, and then you just gain information.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Or you like the one I did at the top of the temple is like you talk to the main guy who's like in charge. He's like, "What are you here for?" And it's like you could answer that we're investigating the theft, or we're just doing a routine patrol.
Mhm.
And depending on what one you do, you get different responses from
Yep.
him.
Although I think the last one we played had that choice, but I didn't like that we did it as much because you could go like the 4 different routes to get into the wherever you to go. You could go like the ferry route, or get the one guy and the fighting route, or the sneaky brother-sister route. So they had that kind of choice to get there, but it wasn't I didn't like the way they did it as much, because it was still so spread out. You still had to like go everywhere to get all these pieces of information.
Yeah, that was like there was more routes to the
point. Yeah. Whereas this is like you're talking to this one person and
you have like two options.
You have two options. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And they brought two different things usually. So
which I do agree with what you're saying though, Megan. Like I like that this one narrowed it back down to where you pretty early on when you find out about the tunnel, you're like, well, the tunnel definitely will get us in there, or we can go maybe in through the opening, and then you pretty much immediately find out, no, you can't go through the opening. So you can just know, I need to do the tunnel. Like we always need to be prepared to do the tunnel.
It was and it was a little bit confusing in the Prophecy of Dragons, just the sense it was like there are multiple things we didn't, and you weren't sure if it's like, do we need to do these, or is it just multiple doors to multiple hallways to the same place? Whereas this was like, we're
literally.
Yeah, there
was that like maze thing that we could go
Well,
through.
not just that, but yeah.
It felt more like one path you had to follow with some dead ends, rather than like four paths you could follow to the same
that's what I was.
end.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. And that it was and because of that, the path, like trying to find out what the path was.
Yeah.
Versus choosing a path to go in,
like which is the best path to take.
But finding that forge on like the third run, it was just sort of real snappy because we sort of knew everything else to be like, oh, new piece, go there, new piece, go there.
Yeah.
All right, back to the tunnel. We don't have enough time. All right, run number 4.
Yeah, it's like it takes like 90 minutes for the first one, and then like 60 minutes for the second one, and then like 30 minutes for the third one, and like 15 minutes for the fourth one. Because then on that one, it's just basically like, all right, we figured out where we needed to go. There's a lot of ways to get extra money in the game, and we found out, oh, you don't need to do that. You can just go to the dyer's neighborhood, buy something, immediately sell it for 2 gold, and then you have the 2 gold you need. That's the only time you need money.
Yeah. We never found another way to get the poison. That was
there's just the one way to get the poison.
There was no other routes we found to get poison.
No.
We could have sold the mask for like 100 gold though.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked that was an option.
Just melt that sucker down.
But yeah,
because really it's just we decided to say fuck the time agency, and we're like, we want to live here in ancient Egypt.
Yes, until they pull us back.
Yeah.
Yeah, until they pull the plug and the bodies were in just drop like sacks of grain.
Yes.
Hopefully we are all standing near the river.
Yes.
So they tumble in.
The crocodiles take care of the rest.
Anything else from the story of this that you guys want to talk about?
I
think we've covered basically all of the major steps and interesting things that happened.
Definitely a lot of time wasters.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Red herrings abound.
But red herrings, like it, but like you were saying, not like the plunger where you immediately know it's red herring.
Yeah.
It was this could mean everything or nothing. We'll just take it and see.
So this is the first one that is just straight historical, I think.
What do you mean by that?
Like, there's no monsters, there's no supernatural, there's no zombies, there's no Cthulhu monsters. There's
you're right.
It's just people back then, and that's it.
Yeah.
They do kind of allude at the very beginning that there might be something supernatural involved, but that the most supernatural thing in this is you going back in time to fix it.
Yeah. And the Saiyans wearing costumes.
Yeah.
They Scooby-Dooed it up.
Those are our guys.
Oh, those are our guys?
Those are our guys.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, we haven't talked about the actual final room, which is the most...
Well, we talked just about we found King Tut's tomb, and it was like, do you have the mask of the poison? We're like, we have the poison?
Yes. So when we finally went back the actual time, there's 2 guys that are the same guy. One in a Horus outfit, one in an Anubis outfit. We thought they were going to be fights or something, but they ended up just being like the same dude, and they've been waiting there a while, and they're both pointing each other like, well, one guy's like, hey, kill that other dude. He's crazy. And the other guy's like, hey, don't talk to the other guy. He's crazy. So the first time we were there, we killed one of them, and then we got a cube, which didn't stay, I guess.
No.
I don't know how it stays.
Which the only cube that's
later.
ever stayed was the cube from like the first one. Yeah, all the other cubes have been like, you found a cube, and then you get nothing.
Unless we've been doing that wrong, and it was vague about whether to keep them or not.
Yeah, maybe this whole time we've been keeping cubes. Supposed to keep cubes, and we haven't.
So the final time we were going to go the other way, but you two went to go put the mask in and then the poison on, which
and it just
immediately ended the scenario. So we weren't able to do the cubey thing. But it was basically just like one dude gives you a cube, the other guy gives you a cube, but they're different. They have different symbols or something on them.
Yeah, we peeked.
They're both the same dude though, and I had actually looked up, and the dude at the end of this scenario, both of them, one of them's real, one of them's not. I don't know. That's not something that's in this, but it's the same guy from the Marcy case that was on the helicopter when we handed the girl over that said like, all right, bye, and then left us there. That's the same guy. So he works for the time company.
Yes.
Police.
Well, and he was mentioning something about like, this is bigger than the Saiyans and the agency and stuff like that.
It's definitely more of an end, whatever their end game is for whatever the storyline's going to be. The Saiyans and then the time agencies fight.
Yep.
So and then one of the guys was like, "This is big. Here's a cube."
That you can't take with you.
Yeah. And that was kind of the end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We sort of found the end before we found anything else.
Yes.
Yes.
Right on. Well, then let's go around and let's do some final thoughts here on Behind the Mask. So, Megan, you're the guest. How about you lead us off? What do you think of Behind the Mask overall?
Overall, I would say I liked it. I thought the theme was fun. I liked it a lot better than the last theme, and it felt a lot more like the exploration and less of the like just grindy fighty that the last one was. I think with time stories, one thing that kind of annoys me over time is like the first playthrough, I have a lot of fun. Everything's new. We got to explore. And the second time is usually pretty good because you get to like go to all these new places. But the third and fourth time, I was like, I've seen these cards. I know what we're going to do up to like the first half. So we just got to like count out the time to get to where we kind of left off or where we need to go. And that like kind of annoys me. By the third and fourth run, it's like, okay, like let's hurry up and get through to this point so we can like actually continue on with the game. But I always like the first and second times through and everything, you're still trying to figure out the puzzle and figure things out. I have a lot of fun playing it. It's just when it drags on longer is when I start to get kind of bored of the game.
Yeah. Stole basically everything I was going to say. I liked the scenario. I like the return to normalcy. Where it's more grounded. Like Jeff said, like this is the first one in the entire series where there's no mystical, magical, supernatural stuff. It's just, people doing people things.
A point in history.
Yeah. I really enjoy that. I thought that the puzzles in this one were a lot better. I liked what you talked about, Zach, where like there were more of the cards where you legitimately had like two choices that would take you in different paths. But the overall story had more or less one main path that once you kind of found that, it clicked and made sense. And I really liked that. So yeah, overall, I really liked Behind the Mask. I do agree with Megan, though, that like, and this is becoming an issue for me with time stories, less so with the particular scenario, is that I really like the first two runs because you're exploring everything and figuring out what the puzzles are and solving them. But then it seems like by the third or fourth run, you know everything you need to do, and it's just a matter of going through and executing it. And so you at that point, it's counting cards and making sure you allot the right amount of time, and then hoping the rolls don't screw you, like has happened in some of the other games we've played.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen in this one where we got like rolled 3 every time we moved and burned through all our time. So, but that I don't like that last little bit where it's like, all right, we've solved the puzzle, now we're just going through the motions to actually complete the puzzle. So Zach, what about you?
I like this one. I pretty much all the same things. We forgot to talk about the art, but I think it's serviceable. I think it looks fine, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it didn't really stand out.
It didn't really stand out.
Some people making goofy faces.
Yeah.
Really smug priest guy.
There was no, it wasn't a priest. It was like a guy who was supposed to rival the pharaoh one day. I was like, no, you're not supposed to show the cards to other people, but I was definitely like, look how smug this motherfucker looks.
Look at this piece of shit.
Yeah. But I liked it. Are we gonna do maybe a ranking of them after we talk about it? Okay. All right. I liked how they did this puzzle versus the previous one. Pretty more or less what you guys said. That's, I liked that we had those little choices. I liked that it had a lot of things that were interconnected. You're like, I had to get this to get this to get this. But you could always choose not to do some of those things. It just would make it harder. Whereas there wasn't a lot of stuff that was just gated. That was person or receptacle gated. There was you can't go there unless you're this person. And it was always just except for one or two instances, I think.
There was a few bits that were gated.
Well,
but usually once you got through it, the one
Yeah.
time,
once
it was
you got through it, you
that's
didn't
what I
have to go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I liked that we could change our receptacles around mid game. And we figuring out which ones are the good ones, which ones are the bad ones, and that you can dump them once they've outlived their usefulness. So, yeah.
Jeff, what'd you think of Under the Mask?
Behind
the Mask.
I liked it. I probably would have liked it more had we done stuff in a different order. Like if we had gone through and probably gotten the mask first before we had found the tunnel thing. But it's just so happened the clues that we got sort of led us towards that thing first. Let us get to the end before we were ready. Which is, it's interesting that you can do that, but then we're in scenario 3, and then we're just kind of bashing.
The run 3, yeah.
Yeah, run 3, and we're just bashing through all of these, oh, we get this, that's cool. Oh, we get this, that's cool. And at that point, we're just oh, okay, go here, etc. So it may have been more fun. Other people might have fun depending on the order that you did things. But otherwise, pretty much the same. Still like it. Still like time stories.
Yep.
It was interesting having a basic setting instead of kind of the weird shit that always happens. And I like the art. It's good.
Right on. Then let's go around real quick and just what's your rough ranking of the 4 that we've done so far for scenarios? Megan, do you have a rough idea what your 4 are?
I would say this one and the first one are in my top 2. I don't know which one would take place. And the first 2 we played so long ago, it's hard to remember my exact feelings on them.
Yeah.
I know the dragon one we played last time is definitely very much in the last. I never want to play that one again. And then
tired of hunting for fairies.
Yeah, I'm so tired of hunting for fairies. And then I would say the Marcy case probably falls in the 3rd. Just because, like I said, I think for these kinds of games, I enjoy the exploration and the puzzle finding more than the fighty. And Marcy Case had more of the fighting, and it's still puzzly, but I felt it definitely had more of the fighting, which probably bumps it down below the first 2. Because I don't think the first one had that much fighting, did it?
Not till later.
Not till later, or if you decided to go a certain way in the sewers.
The cave?
Or whatever it was, yeah.
There was I faintly remember a cave.
Yeah.
I remember going the wrong way.
Yep.
And then being oh, wait, this is that other area where we were no, we can't go this way yet. We need to go and check that other entrance.
Yeah.
My order's the same way. I think this one would probably be my first. And then I think I'd put Asylum at second, but it's close. Asylum also has the benefit of being the first one, so everything was new and interesting. Which I think speaks highly to this one, that it compares with that after the other ones. And then I would put Marcy 3rd and Dragons solidly 4th. And I imagine Dragons will continue to drop the more of them I play.
Sounds about right.
Zach, what about you?
Asylum would still be first. This one probably second, with Marcy as a close 3rd. I did like the end puzzle of that one a lot.
Marcy case?
Yeah. Of trying to figure out which one was the right girl.
Yes.
And there are clues to give you, I liked the overall of that, but like you said, the combat can sort of drag it down. But this one also just felt that sort of Jeff was saying, because we sort of did things in the wrong order, that we should have been able to do it in 3 runs. But the fact the fact that we messed up something. It's like, oh, we got to do this entire thing again.
Mhm.
I think this is the first one that if you got lucky enough with just kind of some of your early decisions, I think this is the first one I've seen where I really feel like a one run complete of this is at least possible.
Yeah.
It's unlikely, but I think it's possible.
Uh-huh.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yes. What's your ranking, Jeff?
I'd probably put Marcy Case first. I just like the zombie theme
Mhm.
in there. That was fun. It was pretty combat heavy, but you did have all those cool puzzles.
Mhm.
And then the cool end was cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool things are cool.
It was a lot more like you had a lot more of that like scenario setting where we go into that hotel and there's a lot more thematic things happening.
I felt the first two ones had that a lot more
Yes.
than
Mhm.
these previous ones.
I would say with the Asylum and Under the Mask being kind of a close second, third, maybe Asylum just before Mask, and then of course Prophecy of Dragons the last currently.
Yeah.
It had that fantasy setting, but it wasn't like enough there. It's like we're just hunting for symbols at this
Mhm.
point. It
Mhm.
was meh. This one definitely had a more defined like trail that we
Yes.
were following.
Mhm.
And trying to keep track of things. It felt more like an investigation than just sort of hunting around for fairies and getting the right characters into the right locations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which the Prophecy of Dragons did.
Yeah. Well, but it's the fact that you didn't have to choose it beforehand. So, like, I think the fact that you can do throughout one run, you can become multiple people that lets you do that.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like the Prophecy of Dragons try to do too much in one thing, and then it just was
Yeah.
too much.
really, I know for me, it would be Asylum, Prophecy Dragons Part 2. and then it would go down, and then 1 would be on the bottom. Part
Yeah.
1, yeah.
Fortunately, you have to get through Prophecy of Dragons Part 1 to ever
Exactly.
even play Prophecy of Dragons
Yeah,
Part
that's
2.
very true. You just want to get to the end of part 1 that has like the cool little puzzle stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one where you were going into like different dimensions.
Yeah.
And
I
stuff
think
like that.
I think the game works well if you choose it doesn't have any of it, or it has like all of the weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
sometimes only going like half measures don't always work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Overall on BGG rankings, Time Stories Basic, of course, rules them all, followed by Prophecy of Dragons, then Marcy Case, then Under the Mask
Weird.
on the official rating wise.
Official.
Yeah, official BGG ranking, with Under the Mask having the least reviews of the 4,
That's probably what it is. More than
but
anything.
Marcy Case having the most besides the base game.
Well, because it's been out the longest.
Well, but also a lower ranking. But I mean, it's like 7.8 versus 7.7 versus 7.5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
BGG ratings are pointless.
Yes, they are. So, real quick, last little question. Is everybody still at this point excited for the next module?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Expedition.
I thought it was the other one.
Expedition Endurance.
Is that the next one? I thought it
I
was
mean, it's on their official FAQ, that is the publishing order.
Okay. All right.
And then Lumen Fide,
Yep.
Australia Drive, and Brother
Estrella Drive.
Estrella.
Star.
Huh?
Star.
Star?
Star in Spanish. Estrella.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Australia Drive, and then Brotherhood of the
Brotherhood
Coast.
of the Coast, which was I swear it was released at Gen Con, but I don't remember.
Cool. That wraps up our quick little run through review ruins episode of Time Stories. Jeff, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, there was one thing that I remembered right at the end that now gone.
The end of what?
There was something in the scenario. Oh, the end of the scenario, the mission score sheet had a QR code on it. Something that we
yeah.
didn't mention.
Oh, yes.
It has a QR code that sends you to an
audio file.
an audio file online, because the thing that you use to transfer all of your fresh corpses is a wasp-looking thing. And as we come back, we're like, oh shit, we forgot the wasp. And then it's an audio file from like 1920 whatever, and someone was talking about things they found in the tomb, and then someone was like, oh yeah, and there was like this like mummified wasp that was there at some point. And they were like, are you sure you didn't forget anything? We forgot the wasp in the tomb.
Yep.
Yep.
Luckily, they were not advanced enough to actually know what it was.
Yes.
Just thought it was a mummified wasp.
Yeah.
That wraps all that up. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you want to get a hold of us, you can always send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can follow us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
You can also join our Board Game Geek Guild number 2731, where you could participate in episode posts for reviews, discussions, and the like, as well as give us follow-up feedback on episodes if you want to berate us for being wrong about something or having dumb opinions.
Which we don't post for these ones.
No, because
I mean, we'll whenever we do this,
whenever
we'll
we release it, we'll
have
do
it on there that you can comment on, and then we can be like, oh, that was like 10 months ago. I don't remember anything.
Correct. But yeah, that wraps it up. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks, Megan, for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you on the show again.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
Mummy Jeff.
And I'm Megan.
Bye.
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 Bye.